Hello and welcome to this video on using while and do-while loops in UiPath Studio. In this demonstration, we'll see how to use the while and do-while loop in sequence and flowchart workflows. Loops are control structures which repeat a set of instructions based on a condition. In practice, loops are used to automate repetitive tasks. For example, checking a list of emails for attachments, extracting information from a list of invoices, transferring a set of customer profiles from Excel to a CRM application, and so on. In flowcharts, the simplest types of loops can be created by connecting a certain point in our workflow to an earlier execution point. In sequences, there are special activities, or containers, that repeat the action that is inside the body section based on a condition. The while and do-while loops work by repeating a given set of actions from the body, while the specified condition is true. The only difference between the two is the order in which the two elements are executed. The while loop checks the condition first, and if it's true, executes the set of actions in the body. On the other hand, the do-while loop executes the actions, then checks the condition, and if it's true, then executes the activities again. Remember the example we've used in the if statements lesson? Let's turn it into a repetitive process. We'll build a sequence workflow that asks for a year and checks if it's a leap year. If it's not, it displays a message and then asks for another year. Once it gets a year that is a leap year, it prompts the user, exits the loop, and stops. Okay, are we ready? Let's see how we can use a do-while loop in a sequence project. We'll start by adding a do-while activity. Let's add a description. And as a best practice, we'll rename the body sequence. Let's use the Data Manager panel and create a new variable called isLeapYear. We'll use it to store the result of the expression which tells us if a year entered by the user is a leap year. So, let's select the data type as Boolean from the drop-down. We want the while loop to keep iterating as long as the value entered by the user is not a leap year. If it is a leap year, how do we break the loop? We must negate the isLeapYear variable in the condition field, so that the condition is true when isLeapYear is false. To achieve this, we'll update the condition to not isLeapYear. Next, let's think about the activities we want to repeat. These are the input dialog and the if statement. Let's move them inside the body of the loop. There are two more things that we need to do. Let's add an assign activity. Pass the result of the expression in the if condition field to the isLeapYear variable. And let's add isLeapYear to the if statement's condition field. Okay, so far so good. How about executing the loop until a set number of iterations has been reached? What can we do to accomplish this? For demonstration purposes, let's create an int32 variable, max iterations. And set the default value to 2 for max iterations. Let's click Save and run the workflow. Let's try a few years. 2021, not a leap year. 2023, not a leap year. Notice that the execution stops with 2 iterations, even if we're not providing a leap year value. Let's try again with 2020. We receive the message that it is a leap year and the execution stops. Everything works as expected. Now would be a good time to pause the video, remove the max iterations for the do while, and run it again to see what happens differently. Moving on, what about creating a do-while loop in a flowchart? That's easy too. Let's take a look at the flowchart workflow previously created. The only change that we need to make is to drag an arrow from the message box, print result false, to the input dialog activity. This creates the loop. Let's run the workflow and see what happens. We'll go ahead and try with a few years. Great, it works. The loop runs until we provide a leap year. Let's recap a bit. In this demo, we've built a sequence workflow and a flowchart that asks for a year and checks if it is a leap year by using the while and do-while loops. For more practice on this topic, try to create a counter using the while and do-while activities. You can have a specific integer range for the counter with incremental values from 1 to 100. And that was all for this lesson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.